First, if you need to have your parking validated, you may see Mr. Haynes in the main office. Town cars can drop off and pick up at all entrances. However, if you arrived in a stretch limousine, you were kindly asked to use the north entrance exclusively. Please make sure that you pick up after yourselves so that the facilities can continue to be used for the rest of the day. And please limit acceptance speeches to no more than 3 minutes in length when, in fact, you win your awards. Lastly, and I think that this is most important, for the last 2 periods, I have received numerous complaints from Mr. Gwynn, Mr. Sempek, and whoever is teaching in that room, which rotates, Yelly and others. And I would like to continue to receive these complaints about noise. So, anytime anybody is nominated for an award, it is both customary and appropriate to lose your damn mind. So, can we practice? All right. You've been nominated in 3, 2, 1. Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, Batista in the bingo! Something like that. Okay, perfect. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2nd Annual Gudgie Awards. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Mark Gudgel. I'll be your host for the evening, along with my esteemed colleague and close friend, Michaela Marks. I realize that I've been presenting for all of about 75 seconds, which means I outlasted Kevin Hart by a long shot. Thank you. I'll probably be here until I die. Okay. In all seriousness, though, we do want to touch base on a couple of things. We're here today, to celebrate the fact that you, as seniors, did something really difficult. I ask you all the time. I tell you, I challenge you. Do hard things. Doing easy stuff is a waste of time. Some of the easy stuff you just have to do to get through life to get done, right? Making Pop-Tarts doesn't challenge you, but if you don't eat, you'll die. Right, so we do that kind of thing. If making Pop-Tarts challenge you, I'm not trying to be insulting. But, you know, in all seriousness, you guys have done really difficult things. You showed up at the start of the semester, and Mrs. March and I told you, you're going to act out Hamlet. And I know for a fact there were people who emailed their counselor and said, can I transfer into another English class? I know that because counselors told me that. And yet there's nobody in here, nobody, maybe one exception, who didn't act out Hamlet. Who just said, I can't do that, and then actually lived down to their own expectations of themselves. Everybody went, okay, fine. And because you worked on it together, you did it. You did hard things, and I thought that was really awesome to see. It's really gratifying. I'm guilty of having sold seniors short for the first couple of years that I taught seniors. I'm not convinced that my freshmen could have handled this. And I mean that with all respect in the world to those of you who had me as freshmen, right? But this is a challenge. And you think back on some of those freshman classes, and I think you can kind of see what I mean, right? There were days that I just sat there. If I say whack-a-mole, do you know what I mean? You know that game, right? Yeah, that's what teaching freshman English is like. It's just like playing a game of whack-a-mole for 90 minutes at a time. Sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down, sit down.
For reference, sophomores they aren't much better.
Oh, I can't imagine. So no, I'm sold on seniors at this point in time. I'll transfer to another school as soon as but we, you know, we really, I think for the first couple of years of teaching seniors, I approached Shakespeare the same way I'd approached it for freshmen. And that wasn't fair to them. I think I sold it short. I know I did, because when we asked you this year, hey, we're gonna act out Hamlet, you did it, and you did an awesome job. And so that's what we're doing today is celebrating the fact that you did something really hard, and hopefully indelibly placing this marker in the back of our heads and reminding ourselves that when you're asked to do hard things, you can do it. You've done it before. You're gonna be in a place in college where you're asked to do something that's uncomfortable, right? And you're either gonna go, I'm not doing that, and fail, or you're just going to suck it up and do it. And I think if you think back and go, all right, for God's sake, if I can be Hamlet, I can do whatever I'm being asked to do. If I can write a sonnet, I can do whatever I'm asked to do. If I can play Crazy Ophelia in Act 4. I can do whatever I've been asked to do here. Right. So we hope that this was a positive experience. We really enjoyed doing it with you. And mostly today, we're here to celebrate that. I'm probably going to get a little emotional over the course of the day as I think about how many people in the audience, as a little girl or a little boy, grew up aspiring to win a gudgie. Oh. I know that there are those common dreams, right? I want to win a Super Bowl, be a fashion designer. Those are for commoners. I know that some of you aspire to real greatness, and tonight we're here to give it to you because you learned it. So excited about this. Forgive me. Forgive me. All right, so without any further ado. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second annual Gudgie Awards. Our first award tonight goes for Best Actor in the Role of an Understudy. An awful lot of you showed up. Hey, please listen. Guys, don't talk. Can't believe I had to say that. An awful lot of you showed up on a random Tuesday, and were told by Mrs. Marsh or myself, oh my gosh, we don't have a Hamlet, can you be Hamlet? And there were people who actually said yes to that. And stepped in and went, yeah, sure, okay, fine, why not? What, what's he got, like all the lines in this scene? No problem. And that was amazing. So for those people who stepped up in the role of an understudy and really helped to make this work on the days when the person who'd been cast was sick, we want to celebrate that. So, without any further ado, your nominees for Best Actor in the role of an understudy are Austin Wagner as Rosencrantz in Act 3, Scene 3. Yeah! He's sitting there literally two-fisting punch right now. You're going to have to drive home. Xander Gray as King Claudius in Act 4, Scene 5. Xander Gray. And Tika Biswa as Horatio in Act 4. And the Gudgie for Best Actor in the role of an understudy goes to Tika Biswa.
To be honest, I was not expecting myself here, so this is quite overwhelming.
You know that don't really work, right?
I want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to win this award. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, yeah.
The envelope is suitable for framing, I hear. Oh, I didn't. Sorry.
I know. Just look at these photos. Our next category is Best Actress in the Role of Understudy.
Oh my god.
And the nominees are Olivia Whitaker as Hamlet, Itzel, I'm going to butcher your last name, Gimenez, Victasia Blakely as Lord,
It's Blakey. It's Blakey, not Lee.
love you, and the Gudgie Ghost. Please don't understand.
It's gonna be good stuff.
The adhesive on here, so much more than it needs.
Out the way. You already know.
I got it at the pumpkin patch.
yesterday at work. I feel like it's not like the amount of work you do, it's how you do it. That's all.
He said he wasn't gonna win.
Oh man, what a great start. That was awesome. Thank you. The next category this evening, feel the excitement. I felt it probably punched him in the arm. His best actor in a supporting role, and the nominees are Mekhi Butler as Francisco in Act 1. Tika Biswa as the Ghost in Act 1, Scene 5. Keegan Clark as Guildenstern in Act 2, Scene 2. And Gray Robinson as the Ghost in Act 2. And the gudgie for Best Actor in a Supporting Role goes to Tika Biswa.
Good job, Tika! Woo! Party boy!
God, you better hide me at that our graduation.
Say my name on that one.
My name was
I don't know what to say. Thank you again. That's it.
Best Actress in a Supporting Role. July Paw as Laertes. Elena Bonifant as Ronaldo. Kaw as Guildenstern. And Hannah Zyla as Lear. And the gudgie goes to, here's my drum roll. Hannah Zyla. Oh, wait,
I know, it was so great.
Next year, somewhere between resumes and college applications, we're going to work on acceptance speeches. Our next category for Gudgie tonight is Best Actor in a Lead Role. You know, I think it's one thing to, I genuinely didn't realize until now that there were two nominees. Your odds are pretty good. Better than usual. In all seriousness, I've told friends of mine who are English teachers that I'm teaching Hamlet to my seniors, and they've said, why? This is such a big, excuse me, York. This is such a huge play. Right? And there's all kinds of famous references in this that we don't necessarily know. That's why. That's the answer to the question, because I want to send 120 people into the world who see this. And number one, don't think it's the speech from Act 3, to be or not to be, because it's not, right? And it's not the head of Ophelia, right? Who is this? Who's who?
The Joker.
Yeah, the court jester who died 23 years ago.
Yeah.
Weird little inclusion into the play. I don't know how this became the single most famous thing Shakespeare ever did, but whatever. This is huge, right? This is a monstrous tome of a play. I get that. you know, like we've talked about, do hard things. So people have said, like, what are you doing teaching Hamlet? It's awesome. You guys did such a great job with it. But when we talk about what we're doing here, we think about lead roles. Holy smokes, right? You look at the roles of Hamlet, of Claudius, of Ophelia, Polonius, although he takes off a little early in the play. It's tough. It's asking a lot. We asked a lot, but you did it. So, without further ado, nominees for Best Actor in a Lead Role are Matias Tercero Domingo as Hamlet in Act 1, Scene 5. Tika Biswa as the Ghost in Act 1. So good. You guys killed it. Matias Tercero Domingo as Hamlet in Act 2, Scene 2. How did the Ghost lead role? Fill in space.
You wrote it. I don't know. Just put it down there. I asked.
If you win for playing the Ghost, I don't even know if you're going to win. Tika Biswa as Hamlet in Act 3, Scene 1. And the gudgie for Best Actor in a Lead Role goes to... People are guessing. Are we placing bets?
No, Matias.
Matias Tercero Domingo.
Smiling for the camera. That was lovely. Obviously well thought out. Maybe a little bit long.
So look at your speech. It's 30 minutes, not
Yeah,
seconds.
that's seconds, right? Ladies, you notice that Shakespeare's kind of man-heavy. There's lots of guys in it. Not very many girls. Yeah, they do that. It's not okay. Here's the deal. The women make the play. We know this, don't we? We know this. So, our nominees for Best Actress.
Down with the patriarchy!
That's why, guys, that's why we're second, because they always wait till Best Actor. As always the last, before Best Film at the Oscars, right? Because it's women and then men, because the men are more important. That. Olivia Whittaker as Claudius in Act 1, Scene 2. Until you have two names now. In Act 3, Scene 1. And Olivia Whittaker as Ophelia. Oh, come on. Yay! Olivia Whittaker as Ophelia in Act 4, Scene 5.
Oh! Whoa!
And the Gudgie Ghost. Where's my girl? Now I can get up. Olivia Whittaker. It's my absolute favorite role.
Oh. As you can tell, I don't usually look like that, so thankfully. Wow. Totally wasn't expecting this. Wow. I'd like to thank my teachers for giving me the opportunity to act. It was very fun, and it was nice to do it not in a drama class. I'd like to thank my drama teacher, Mr. Brown. Love that guy. Amazing. Best teacher. Sorry. But
It's too late for me to take a good.
I'd like to thank him a lot, though. Always believed in me, even when my mom didn't. But, yeah. And that's it. Thank you.
What a night, huh? Oh man, I'm not gonna sleep for days. We have one more category, and this, of course. Yep. Yeah, that is not Makai's last name. You're correct.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's that?
That's a real kid.
So
Sullivan.
He doesn't end this last name. Okay.
yeah.
That
He's not.
Yeah, I'm kind of
I'm
one.
so sorry.
Just put the H in
Oh
front of
my
the
god,
K.
don't do that.
Yeah.
All right, so sorry about that,
So
Makai. Consolation gummy bears are available. So the last piece is the sonnet recital, and one thing I'll tell you is that we obviously, you remember this, you were here. There was a lot of competition for this award. An awful lot of people did a really great job with this. I was actually speaking to a math teacher yesterday, and we were talking about effectively, and you can imagine, right, my right brain and his left, that which is quantifiable. We were talking about some of the things that we teach kids, and some of the things that we don't. Because I think we spend a lot of time teaching kids to bubble in scantrons, and if I'm being completely frank with you, that is a waste of your time and mine. Yeah, unfortunately, me knowing that doesn't translate into you not having to do it. Someday it may, right? So someday I may be Secretary of Education. Unlikely. But, in all seriousness, there are things that we can measure and there are things that we can't. And I think that we waste a lot of time attempting to quantify human intellect. And we strap numbers to things. My juniors right now are in the same panic fit that I think you were probably in a year ago, thinking about ACT scores and stuff like that. And we strap, GPAs to things and all kinds of stuff, and we try to say, well, this is some measure of your worth. This is some, quantification of who you are intellectually or in some other way, and it's a tragedy. And it's not something we have to accept, by the way. If you're not 18, you will be soon. You've got the ability to vote and change those things, and I'd encourage you to give that some real thought. When it comes to reciting sonnets, I was talking to this math teacher, and it was interesting to me because he instantly understood what I was trying to say when I explained why we do this. See, the value of writing or memorizing a poem is probably marginal at best. You might at some point utilize that skill to trick somebody into going out with you or something like that. But really, or you might take a, I love the look on your face. That was like, oh, hey, I hadn't even thought I could use it that way. But aside from that in poetry classes, I don't know. But what about the ability to commit something to memory for other purposes? I was following a driver's ed car the other day. And the thing that threw me off about it being a driver's ed car was that it was a Mercedes-Benz. But aside from that, it was very obviously a driver's ed car for two reasons. One, they were swerving like crazy. It was either a student or like a platypus trying to drive this vehicle. And then the second, it had a big sticker across it that said, driver's ed or student driver or some warning to other people to get out of the way. And I was watching this person drive, and I was driving behind them, and I looked in their rear windshield, and through it I could see a phone mounted to the windshield. And I don't think it was there for Twitter. I think it was there to provide a map. Weird that a Mercedes-Benz wouldn't have a GPS system in it, but whatever. I think it was there to provide a map. And what was concerning to me about that is that we have obviously given up even on the idea that you might use your brain to navigate from place to place. We're just going to scrap that whole chunk of the brain. And we're just going to say, you know what, you can look that up, so there's no reason to know how to do it any other way. Yeah, unless your battery dies. Being able to commit things to memory is meaningful, and it's being taken away from us. And a lot of you did a great job with, frankly, a very difficult task. And so we felt it was absolutely appropriate, important even, to nominate people for their amazing work with their sonnets. So, without further ado, the nominees for Best Sonnet Recital are Keegan Clark. Tika Biswa. Elena Bonifant. Makai Butler. Giselle Jimenez Garduno.
Oh,
hand
you
out.
was supposed to. Okay, I get that was a mom. Okay, so you're supposed to.
The gudgie for best sonnet recital goes to Keegan Clark.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, Keegan.
Thank my friends for inspiration, and thank my parents for helping me at the stars.
I'm here for you, man.
Yeah.
Your mom's so proud of you.
Third place deposit set. All right. All right. Do we need a break for more candy and popcorn and stuff before we move into trivia? I don't think there's much left. If you need anything, snag it, and then we're going to get into our trivia.